Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. I am Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So if you're ever in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us. Service begins at 10 a.m. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. And of course, this Sunday is Palm Sunday. So we would love to have you come and worship with us if you're in our area. And if you're not in our area, of course, we invite you to tune in for our Sunday sermon on our YouTube channel at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope. The Sunday sermon goes live at 10:45 a.m. and we would love to have you with us in our virtual sanctuary. Of course, we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss. Broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And I want to say to our sponsor, Fiji Water, thank you for providing water for the students, the middle school students who came yesterday to work with us in our food pantry to prepare for distribution. They came yesterday to be with us. They spent 3 hours of community service with us yesterday at our New Life Food Source Pantry. And if you know someone that is in need of food, have them contact us on the T-Mobile call text line at 267-992-1424. We will provide you with instructions so that they can receive food. We don't want anyone going hungry. It is our goal to eliminate food insecurities, certainly to reduce hunger, but to be available to the community and assist anyone who may be in need. We want you to stay connected with us throughout the week through our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com. We play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to encourage, empower, and inspire everyone. So stay connected, stay tuned in, let the music bless you at WKAPfaith.com. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband has been dealing with some health issues, and you said now all he wants to do is sit around and do nothing, like he is waiting to die. Okay. You want to know, how do you get him to keep living? And you know, the interesting thing is that sometimes when people are dealing with health issues, it's difficult to be inspired. It's difficult to be motivated. You want him to just keep living, and that's the great thing. So encourage him to do some small things. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So what that means is just simply this. Don't try to get him to do all the things that he's always done before the health issues began. He may not be physically able to do it. You may look at him and think, oh, if I could just get him to do these physical activities that he's always done, you may not be able to get him to do that right away. You may be looking at him, and because you want him to be in the land of the living, you may be looking at him and saying, if I can just get him motivated to do what he's always done. But you're not going to be able to do that since he's going through this period of isolation. What you can do is begin to get him to do some small things. Take a walk with you. That's a good start. Maybe a half mile, maybe a mile, a little bit at a time. Encourage him to go out with you for lunch, or encourage him to go out with you for a brief dinner. Just something that gets him out of the house for a moment. Now, man's home is his castle. So I can understand why he would prefer to be at home, but what you're trying to do is just get him moving again. And then you just suggest some little things that will, go to a movie, just to get him moving again. It's really not to get him out of, as men, I have to laugh about this because last Sunday I was talking to a gentleman that I had the opportunity to meet after our Sunday service. And we were laughing about how we both love our homes and we would love to see our homes in the daylight, meaning we want to be able to go home. But when someone's going through health issues, sometimes it is good for them just to get out of the house for a moment, for nothing else but the sake of movement, being in motion, because the body in motion stays in motion. So just encourage him to do some little things. And then as he starts to feel a little better, he'll start moving around a little more. You can encourage him to get some exercise. You can encourage him to do some different things that he may not have done. I know, I can use a prime example. I love golf. I love the game of golf. And just being out on the golf course for 18 holes is a place for me to commune with God. It's a place for me to get some fresh air. It's a place of solitude, but yet I can still enjoy myself. You've got to find something that he likes doing that he can do while he's dealing with his health issues. If you do that, you're going to find that he'll get more inspired, and he'll be able to begin to make the transition. Because what happens a lot of times when people have health issues, it's not just the health issue itself. It is the body that is causing the problem, but then the mind and the spirit are impacted. So if we can keep our spirit right and get our mind right, the body will follow. Sometimes we have to push through, but in your husband's case, it's not just a matter of pushing through. He has a real health issue to deal with. So just try to get him to do the small things right now. Start there. One bite at a time. Remember what I said. How do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time. It is so important that we recognize that when someone is dealing with a physical issue of health, it will sometimes have an impact on their mental health, which could be depression, could be some anxiety, or it simply could be they've given up. Well, you have to help them to understand that, rest if you must, just don't quit. You can't just give up. He's got to keep living, but don't try to make him live too large. Don't try to make him live the way he was living before. Once the issues are under control, the health issues are under control, once he's got a control over his body once again, then he will get back to his normal self. He'll get back to the normalcy. But right now he has to get through that. And that just requires doing the small things, the little things that are going to inspire him, the little things that are going to empower him, the little things that are going to encourage him. Just to get up every day and put his best foot forward. His best foot may not look like the same foot that he was putting forward before, but it's still good enough. Your best foot. Pardon me. Giving it our best. My allergies are still bothering me. I'll never forget something my mother-in-law said to me many, many years ago. I was out of the country working on something, and I had been really, really working diligently. And things just didn't line up the way that I intended them to line up. And I called home and my mother-in-law said to me, "Did you give it your best?" And I said, "Absolutely." And she said, "Then your best is good enough. Come home, rest, get some rest, start all over again." And that always stuck with me. Well, it's the same thing. No matter if it's health, no matter if it's business, no matter if it's personal, as long as every day we give it our best is always going to be good enough. The good news is tomorrow's a new day. And we're going to pray for your husband that as he goes through this journey with his health, that it is God's will that he be restored, that he'll get back to the place that God has appointed for his life, and that all will be well. And that you'll have peace in the process, because one of the things I recognize in your communication is that you're struggling because of the fact that you feel if he doesn't want to live, he's going to die. If he's given up, he's going to die, and then what does that leave you? So there's a couple of things going on there. But the reality is, if you just keep believing God and believing in God's will, and then believe that if you just do the small things with him now, God willing, he'll get back to the place where he can do the big things that he's always done. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you will have the opportunity to become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching the credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have two adult daughters, you said they're 28 and 30, who moved back home after college and have not moved out. Your husband says they can stay at home as long as they can remain at home as long as they want to remain. You said, however, you're ready for them to go. You want them to get married. You want grandchildren. I get it. That's what you say. Okay. But here's the reality. You're looking at it from the perspective of the next generation. You want to be able to have grandchildren and enjoy them, but you want them to get out, move into apartments, enjoy their careers, find someone or be found by someone that will marry them and give you grandchildren. That's a beautiful picture. However, one thing you have to realize, the reason that your husband says that they can remain at home as long as they want to remain at home is because he has the philosophy that many of us men have of a certain age. And that is that our daughters can remain at home until someone claims them to be their wife. You know, that's a philosophy about building a legacy. And the legacy is he wants them to remain at home, save their money, understand that until they date someone who then proposes to them and marries them, that they can remain at home because they're still his responsibility. Because that's what men do with daughters. Now, daughters don't always want to follow along with the program because sometimes they want to date men who a father would not approve of. Sometimes they just want to rebel. So sometimes they just want to be out on their own, and that's fine. If that's what they're doing and living their lives, that's fine. In the sense of, okay, you want to spread your wings, you want to leave the nest, okay. One thing about fathers, one thing about fatherhood is that we understand that until a man takes our daughter's hand in marriage, we have no problem with them being at home, living at home. Because for all intents and purposes, they are still our responsibility. When a man takes our daughter's hand and marries her, then she becomes his responsibility. Doesn't mean we won't be there for them. It just means she becomes their responsibility. Now, I'm going to say this because it's real important. Men don't have the same relationship with their sons. Meaning, we expect our sons to pursue their careers, get married, become homeowners, have children. Because their children, if they have a son, will continue the last name, the lineage. If they have a daughter, she'll carry that last name until she gets married. We're about building, being fruitful, multiplying, and replenishing the earth. That's the word of God. That's what's scriptural. But we're always going to have a different relationship with our daughters than we do with our sons. Now, I'm the first one to say that any of our children, if they have a health issue, a health crisis, they are always, I expect them to come home if needed. I expect them to come home if needed. But thank God, none of those issues. But having said that, we all are trying to build a better society as parents. And in order to do that, we have to do things decently and in order. So our expectation is for our sons to begin their careers, build a life for themselves and their family. We expect our daughters to, as fathers, we expect our daughters to remain at home until someone claims them to be their wives. And then they go off and build a life for themselves, the legacy. But at the end of the day, the relationship with fathers and daughters is always going to be that. And that's really what your husband is living by. He doesn't want your two daughters going out there in the world and making a lot of mistakes and, being connected to the wrong person, someone that has no plan for their lives, just dating for sport. He's not, he wants them to date, but he wants them to date someone that's going to fit in the family. That's real important. It's real important. And you're obviously, the two of you are younger than myself, but your husband still understands the concept of legacy. He understands the concept of building a family unit that will carry from generation to generation. He understands that. There are some of us that are really focused on what that legacy looks like. But as a whole, we're all trying to be fruitful, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Because that's the command of God. So whether you want them to go and spread their wings and have a life and all of that, they can still have a life living at home with you. No father is going to tell his adult daughter, oh, you have to be at home at this time when she is an adult and in her own career. He's gonna let her live her life. But he just wants them at home, not just to protect them from the world and themselves, but just to be responsible for them until they are prepared for marriage. That is fatherhood. And I'm going to encourage you not to interfere with that, because all you'll be doing is getting in his way of what he's trying to do with your daughters to make sure that the person that has chosen them is the right person for them. And that's someone who will take their hand in marriage and walk them down the aisle. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And if you order right now from Charles Tyrwhitt, you will receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts. If you order shirts from Charles Tyrwhitt for $99, that's over a $200 savings at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated, you have built a great life for yourself. You said, however, your family and friends do not appear to be excited for you by always having something negative to say, and you do not understand why they're always talking negative, saying things like, for example, you said they'll tell you that you think that you are better than everyone else. No, you've created a better quality of life for yourself. What you have done is focused on the big picture. You have focused on building a great quality of life, and now you have people in your family who are haters, and you have friends who are haters. They're not really your friends. Your family, you don't get to choose your family. So your family is going to be your family. You get to choose how you're going to deal with your family, but you don't get to choose your family. You do get to choose your friends or people that you think are your friends. And the truth of the matter is, people will say they love you, but when they find one reason to say negative things or talk bad about you, they're going to do it, and the reason they're going to do it is because of this. They're really not your friends. There are people that entered into your life. You may have known them a long time. You may not have known them a long time, but they've been part of your life for a period of time. And what happens is they see what God is doing in your life, the progress you're making. They see the everyday success. They don't care how hard it was for you to get there. All they care about is that it's happened. And now what happens is it holds a mirror up to their face. And what I mean by that is, no matter what their life looks like, they're going to look at the progress you're making, they're going to look at the quality of life that you have, and they're going to say, how come that hasn't happened to me? And then they're going to start looking for reasons why they can, or the reason that they can say negative things. You don't think you're any better than anyone else. You've just worked harder. You've set aside a lot of the nonsense. This is real important, because one of the things people don't understand is that, yes, God is working in your life when you're blessed. God is absolutely working in your life when you are blessed. What they don't realize is the work that you put in to get there. Because faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith that you want, that God is going to do something great in your life, but if you don't put any work in, God's still going to be holding the good thing from you. What they don't realize, your family doesn't realize, is that you have worked very hard to exercise your faith, believe in God, and choose to honor God with your life. And particularly at your age. You know, you've already begun to you've built a great quality of life for yourself, and you are 41 years of age. You've tried to eliminate a lot of the distractions from your life. You've done the necessary things to really have a great quality of life. You chose to marry someone who gets up, puts in the work every day. You both go to church together. And you're not lukewarm Christians. You go to church together every Sunday. You worship God. You go home. You're not partying. You're not drinking. You're not out doing all the things that will disrupt the quality of life. So you've built and continue to build this great quality of life for yourself. Don't allow what family or friends or anybody else to take you off your square. What you're standing on, that foundation that you built in Christ Jesus, don't allow anyone to take you off of that. Don't allow what they say, what they think, none of that matters. Just stay focused on the life that God has given you and keep living it. Enjoy it. Because this is the life that God has given to you. And here's the good news. God is not the respecter of persons. He'll do the same thing for them. But if they're only going to be sometime Christians, if they're only going to be part-time lovers of God, if they're only going to say they love Him but not really be all in, they're not going to make the progress that you're making. Because the progress all lies in your relationship with the Lord. Keep building that relationship, and you'll be amazed what God will continue to do. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, 3D, has been brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. If you're in our area, come worship with us. New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington.